The Unbreakable Mind, How to Forge Elite Mental Discipline, full audiobook. Stop what you are doing. For the next 2 hours, there is only this. You are here because the life you are living is not the life you have envisioned. There is a gap, a chasm between who you are and who you could be, and that chasm is filled with excuses, mediocrity, and weakness. This is not another motivational talk. Motivation is a fleeting emotion for the weak. This is a reprogramming. This is the definitive guide to silencing the voice of mediocrity, waging war on your weaker self, and forging the unstoppable will to achieve any goal. The unbreakable mind is not born, it is built. Your training begins now. You already know that. But if you sit with this, if you this to the end, you'll walk away with a mindset that doesn't rely on ever again. So don't click off. Don't scroll. Stay locked in. This audio book isn't here to entertain you. It's here to wake you up. It's here to help you build the kind of mindset that performs under pressure, that stays calm in chaos, and that knows how to win. When nothing's going right, you don't need hype. You need structure. You need a new standard. And it all starts right now with learning how to train your mind to win in every situation. Chapter 1. The enemy is internal. Let us begin with a fundamental truth. A truth so simple, so absolute, that your mind has built a fortress of intricate lies to protect you from it. The reason you are not where you want to be, in your career, in your health, in your life, has nothing to do with the economy. It has nothing to do with your boss, your family, your upbringing, or your lack of luck. All of your failures, every single moment of procrastination, and each ounce of weakness you feel stems from one single source. The enemy is internal. Write that down. Burn it into your memory. Let it be the first thought that enters your mind when you wake, and the last one to leave before you sleep. The world is not conspiring against you. The universe is indifferent to your success. The only battle that has ever mattered is the one being waged between your ears, every second of every day. And until now, you have been losing. You have been losing because you are addicted to the most dangerous drug known to man, the excuse. The story, the narrative where you are the noble victim of unfortunate circumstances. You tell yourself, I was late because the traffic was terrible. You say, I didn't get the promotion because my boss plays favorites. You rationalize, I can't get in shape because I just don't have the time. These are lies. Comfortable, soothing, pathetic lies that keep you trapped in mediocrity. It's not about the traffic. It's about your lack of discipline to plan for it. It's not about your boss. It's about your failure to make yourself so valuable that you are undeniable. It's not about time. It's about your refusal to seize control of your schedule. The obstacle is not the path. The obstacle is you. Let's dissect the traffic example, because it is the perfect microcosm of this flawed thinking. The amateur, the person with an undisciplined mind, leaves their house at the last possible minute. They hit predictable, rush-hour traffic and their blood pressure spikes. They grip the steering wheel, cursing the other drivers, the city planners, the world itself. They arrive late, flustered, and immediately announce, you won't believe the traffic. They are broadcasting their powerlessness. They are a victim. They have surrendered all control to the external world. Now, consider the operator, the professional, the individual with an unbreakable mind. They view traffic not as an unforeseen enemy, but as a known variable in a complex equation. They have studied the patterns. They know traffic is heavy at 8 a.m. So, they control the only variable they can, their departure time. They leave at 7:15 a.m. They arrive 20 minutes early, calm and prepared. They use the extra time to review their notes, to center their mind, to prepare for victory. If, by some freak occurrence, there is a 5-car pileup and they are still late, They walk into the meeting and say one thing: "I apologize for being late. I failed to plan for this contingency. It will not happen again." Do you see the difference? It is monumental. One mindset relinquishes all power. The other claims all of it. The operator knows the truth. The enemy is internal. The failure was in the planning, not the pavement. That's the key. It is the absolute acceptance of responsibility. You have a choice. Every single moment of adversity presents you with this choice. You can look outward for someone or something to blame, or you can look inward for the weakness you need to fortify. Blame is a release of pressure. It feels good for a moment, like a deep sigh of relief. But it is the sigh of a prisoner who has accepted his chains. Ownership is pressure. It is heavy. It forces you to confront your own inadequacies. But it is the pressure that forges a diamond from coal. It is the weight that builds the muscle. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to adopt a new code. A simple one. You are forbidden from blaming anything or anyone outside of yourself. Forbidden. If a project is late, it is not because your team was slow. It is because your leadership was insufficient. If you are tired, it is not because your day was hard. It is because your sleep discipline was weak. If you find yourself in an argument, it is not because the other person is unreasonable. It is because your communication was imprecise. This will feel unnatural. It will feel painful. Your ego will scream in protest. It will want to craft stories, to point fingers, to find a scapegoat. You must silence that voice. You must look at every single outcome and say, "This was on me." It's not about self-hatred. It's about self-empowerment. The moment you stop blaming the world is the moment you reclaim the power to change your world. As long as the traffic is the problem, you are helpless to fix it. But the moment your planning is the problem, you suddenly have all the power you need. You don't need their permission to leave earlier. You don't need the world to change for you to win. The undisciplined mind is a hall of mirrors, endlessly reflecting blame onto everything around it. It is a victim of circumstance, a ship without a rudder, tossed about by the waves of life. The disciplined mind is a command center. It analyzes data, accepts responsibility for all outcomes, and makes adjustments to the strategy. It is the captain of its own fate. So you must ask yourself, right now, what are the lies you tell yourself? What are the external forces you have crowned as the rulers of your destiny? Your past? Your finances? The opinions of others? Name them. Acknowledge them. And then, one by one, dismantle them. They are illusions. They are phantoms you have allowed to dictate your reality. The only true obstacle you have ever faced is the disorganized, undisciplined, and fearful voice inside your own head. This is the first step. This is the foundation upon which all mental discipline is built. The total and complete acceptance that the fight is not out there. The fight is in here. The enemy is not them. The enemy is you. You have located the battlefield. You have identified the enemy. Now, the real work begins. You must learn the strategy. You must understand the tactics. You must learn how to wage and win this war every single day. You must learn how to. Chapter 2. Declare war on your weaker self. Chapter 2. Declare war on your weaker self. You now understand where the battle is fought. Inside, you have identified the enemy. It is you. But an enemy identified is not an enemy defeated. This is not a misunderstanding to be resolved over a discussion. This is not a bad habit to be gently coaxed into changing. This is a war, and you must be the one to declare it. Forget everything you have learned about self-improvement. Erase the gentle language of building habits and finding your why. That is the language of peace, and you are not at peace. You are occupied territory. Your mind, your time, and your potential have been seized by a relentless, insidious force. That force is your weaker self. It is the part of you that craves comfort. the part that whispers for you to take the easy path. It is the voice that says, tomorrow, the one that begs for just 5 more minutes, the one that justifies mediocrity as being realistic. It is a master strategist, a brilliant saboteur, and it wears your face and speaks with your voice. It knows every one of your weaknesses because they are its own, and its sole mission is to keep you safe, comfortable, and stagnant. Your mission, starting today, is to hunt it down and destroy it. Every single day. This is not a negotiation. It is a war. Consider the first battle. It is waged every single morning in the darkness of your bedroom. The alarm clock screams. This is the call to arms. In that moment, 2 generals stand on the battlefield of your mind. There is the commander, the disciplined you who set the alarm with purpose. And there is the traitor, the weaker self who immediately begins its campaign of psychological warfare. It whispers, "You're so tired. You earned this rest. Just hit the snooze. What difference will 9 minutes make?" The amateur listens. The amateur negotiates. Okay, they think, just 1 snooze. I'll make up the time later. They have already lost. The first battle of the day is a crushing defeat, and they have handed command over to the enemy. That single act of weakness sets the tone for the entire day. It's a message sent directly to your subconscious. Our commitments are optional. Our discipline is fragile. Comfort is king. The warrior, however, understands the truth. Victory or defeat is decided in these small moments. The warrior knows that the snooze button is a weapon of the enemy. To even consider it is to entertain treason. So, when the alarm sounds, there is no thought. There is no debate. There is no negotiation. There is only action. 5-4-3-2-1. Feet on the floor. That's the key. You do not give the weaker self time to speak. You do not honor its arguments with your attention. You act with such speed and ferocity that the voice of weakness is drowned out by the sound of your own disciplined movement. You win that first battle. You stand up, victorious, in the quiet darkness. And you have sent a powerful message to every cell in your body. I am in command today. This is the nature of the war. It is not fought in grand, dramatic gestures. It is fought in 1,000 tiny skirmishes throughout the day. It is the war at the gym, when your muscles are burning on the 8th repetition and your weaker self screams for you to stop. The warrior does 2 more. It is the war at your desk, when the difficult project looms and your weaker self begs for the easy dopamine hit of checking your email or scrolling through your phone. The warrior turns the phone off and attacks the most important task first. It is the war at the dinner table, when you are offered the dessert that violates your nutritional code. Your weaker self says, "You deserve a treat." The warrior says, "No," without hesitation, because the satisfaction of discipline is infinitely more fulfilling than the fleeting taste of sugar. In every one of these moments, you have a choice. You can negotiate, or you can command. You can surrender to comfort, or you can impose your will. There is no middle ground. Every time you choose the easy path, every time you listen to the traitor's voice, you are funding the enemy. You are giving it more resources, more strength, more control over your life for the next battle. Conversely, every time you choose the hard path, every time you do the thing you don't want to do but know you must do, you starve the enemy. You weaken it. You remind it who is in charge. You are not trying to eliminate your desire for comfort. You are trying to subordinate it to your will. It is not about motivation. It is not about feeling good. A soldier does not ask if he feels like going to battle. He goes because he is a soldier. It is his duty. This is your duty to yourself. You don't need permission to be disciplined. You just need to decide to fight. For years, you have been at peace with your own weakness. You have signed treaties with mediocrity. You have allowed procrastination to run rampant through your days. That peace has cost you your potential. It has cost you your pride. That peace was, in fact, a quiet surrender. Today, that peace is over. Today, you declare war. You will start seeing every choice as a battle. You will personify that lazy, excuse-making voice as your sworn enemy. And you will take immense, savage satisfaction in defeating it, over and over and over again. This is the path. This is the only way. But be warned. Your weaker self has a powerful propaganda machine. A lie it has used to keep you and millions of others passive and weak. It has convinced the world that you need a special feeling before you can fight. It has sold you the all-pervasive myth of motivation. And now, we are going to dismantle that lie completely. Chapter 3. The Myth of Motivation, the Reality of Action. Chapter 3. The Myth of Motivation, the Reality of Action. You have declared war. You have identified your weaker self as the enemy. But that enemy has a shield. A powerful, pervasive lie that has been sold to you your entire life by a world that profits from your inaction. That lie is motivation. Motivation is the greatest myth of the self-help industry. It is the siren song for the undisciplined. It is the excuse of the amateur. You have been taught to wait for it, to cultivate it, to hunt for it, as if it were some magical elixir that will finally grant you permission to act. This is a trap, and today you are going to see it for what it is. Motivation is nothing more than a chemical reaction. It is a fleeting emotion, a temporary high. It is the sparkler that burns bright for 30 seconds and then dies, leaving you in the dark. Discipline is the sun. It is the unyielding source of energy that is there day in and day out, regardless of clouds, regardless of weather, regardless of how you feel. You have been told you have a motivation problem. You do not. You have a discipline problem. You are addicted to the feeling of wanting to do something, instead of the act of doing it. Your weaker self loves this addiction. Why? Because if you need motivation to act, then a lack of motivation becomes the perfect, ironclad excuse for doing nothing. I just don't feel motivated to go to the gym today. I'm not inspired to work on my business right now. I'll start my diet when I'm in the right mindset. Do you hear the weakness in those statements? It is the sound of a slave asking his master, emotion, for permission to be free. Your feelings are the most unreliable counselors you will ever have. They change with the weather, with what you ate for lunch, with the quality of your sleep. To build a life on the foundation of your feelings is to build a skyscraper on a swamp. Motivation is a luxury. Discipline is a duty. Do the work. Let's be clear. The professional, the operator, the warrior, they feel unmotivated just as often as you do. The difference is, their feelings are irrelevant. They do not factor into the equation. They made a decision. They built a schedule. They have a mission. The work gets done. Consider the author. The amateur author waits for the muse. They need the perfect quiet cafe, the right blend of coffee, the perfect playlist. They need to feel inspired. As a result, they write in short, manic bursts, followed by weeks or months of silence and self-doubt. They talk more about the book they are going to write than they do about the pages they have actually written. The professional author treats writing like a job. They have a schedule. At 8 a.m., they sit in the chair. They open the document. And they write. For 4 hours. Every single day. Are they always inspired? No. Are they always motivated? Absolutely not. Do they always produce brilliant work? Of course not. But they produce. They lay the bricks, one after another, and by the end of the year, the amateur has a handful of inspired pages, while the professional has a finished manuscript. That's the key. The professional understands that action is the cause of motivation, not the result. Read that again. Action creates motivation. When you are sitting on the couch, dreading the gym, your motivation is at zero. Your weaker self is winning. But if you invoke discipline, if you force yourself up, put on your shoes, and just walk out the door, something incredible happens. After 10 minutes on the treadmill, your blood starts to pump. Endorphins are released. You see other people working hard. Suddenly, a flicker of motivation appears. You start to feel good. You finish your workout, and you feel powerful, accomplished. That feeling creates a desire to do it again tomorrow. You didn't wait for the feeling. You generated the feeling through action. This is the great reversal of thinking that will change your life. You have a choice. You can wait for the lightning of inspiration to strike, or you can become the storm. Stop searching for motivation. It is not coming. Instead, focus on the start. The friction is never in the doing of the task. It is in the starting of the task. Your weaker self will fight you hardest in the 5 seconds before you begin. So, your strategy is to win that 5-second battle. Use the rule of action. Do not think about the full hour you need to work out. Just think about putting on your shoes. Do not think about the 3,000-word report you need to write. Just open a new document and write 1 sentence. It's not about the monumental task. It's about the first, small, physical act of defiance against your own inertia. You don't need their permission. You don't need the universe's permission. You certainly do not need your own feelings' permission. You just need to move. Motivation is a fair-weather friend. It shows up when things are exciting and new, and it abandons you the moment the work becomes difficult, tedious, or boring, which is where all true progress is made. Discipline is the ally that stays with you in the trenches. It is the force that pulls you out of bed when it's cold and dark. It is the voice that tells you to make one more sales call when you've been rejected 10 times. It is the bedrock of all success. Your new mantra is this: my feelings are irrelevant. My schedule is law. Say it. Believe it. Live it. When you feel lazy, your schedule says it's time to work. So you work. When you feel tired, your schedule says it's time for the gym. So you go. When you feel afraid, your schedule says it's time to take the leap. So you jump. By consistently choosing action over emotion, you are fundamentally rewiring your brain. You are teaching it that commitments are non-negotiable. You are building an identity as someone who does what they say they will do, regardless of the internal weather. This identity is the foundation of self-respect, and self-respect is the fuel for unstoppable momentum. You have learned to act. You have chosen the reality of action over the myth of motivation. But taking action is only half the battle. Your mind is a noisy, chaotic place, full of doubt, fear, and the endless chatter of the outside world. It is not enough to simply force your body to move. You must learn to command the very environment in which your thoughts exist. You must understand that. Chapter 4. Your mind is a battlefield, not a garden. Chapter 4. Your mind is a battlefield, not a garden. For too long, you have been given a soft and gentle metaphor for the nature of your mind. You have been told that your mind is a garden, a place where you must gently pluck the weeds of negativity and patiently plant the seeds of positivity. You are told to tend to your thoughts with delicate care, to water your aspirations, and to let the sun of optimism shine upon them. This metaphor is a lie. It is a dangerous, passive philosophy that has left you vulnerable and unprepared for the reality of the fight. Your mind is not a garden. Your mind is a battlefield. It is a hostile, contested territory. Every single day, invading forces lay siege to your consciousness. The force of doubt, the force of fear, the force of insecurity, the force of comparison. These are not weeds to be gently plucked. They are enemy combatants, armed and dangerous, with a singular mission: to conquer your will, break your spirit, and halt your advance. To treat a battlefield like a garden is to guarantee defeat. You do not reason with an invading army. You do not passively observe them as they set up camp. You do not hope they will simply wither away in the sun. You identify them, you engage them, and you destroy them with overwhelming force. Do not tend to weakness. Destroy it. Your mind is a battlefield. Stand your ground. Let's be tactical. An enemy thought enters your territory. It might be the voice of your weaker self whispering, "You're not good enough for this promotion. Everyone else is more qualified. The gardener's approach is to observe this thought, acknowledge it without judgment, and gently try to replace it with a positive one. This is a hopelessly passive strategy. It is like asking an enemy soldier to kindly leave the premises. The warrior's approach is completely different. The warrior identifies the thought not as an observation, but as an attack, an enemy incursion. The immediate response is a violent counteroffensive. You do not just think, "I am good enough." You go to war. You marshal your evidence. You summon the memories of every late night you worked, every project you delivered, every success you have ever earned. You mentally shout back, "I have earned my place here. I have proven my value." This thought is an enemy lie, and I will not give it ground. You must attack your negative thoughts with the ferocity of a cornered animal. Don't just disagree with them, despise them. See them as the poison they are. That voice of doubt isn't a part of you to be understood. It is a foreign agent trying to burn down everything you are trying to build. Treat it as such. That's the key. You must change your relationship with your own negative thinking. Stop seeing it as a reflection of reality and start seeing it as enemy propaganda. Its only purpose is to demoralize you and soften you up for defeat. You have a choice. When the thought, "I'm too tired for the gym," enters your mind, you can enter into a debate. You can negotiate. You can weigh the pros and cons. Or you can identify it as an enemy broadcast, a lie designed to promote weakness, and you can immediately launch a physical counterattack. The moment the thought appears, your feet hit the floor. You put on your gym shoes. You walk out the door. You do not give the thought time to build a fortress. You obliterate it with action. This is what it means to stand your ground. The battlefield of your mind is chaotic. To win, you need rules of engagement. Your first rule is this: not all thoughts deserve your attention. Most, in fact, deserve to be ignored or executed on sight. You are the commander of this space. You get to decide which thoughts are allies and which are enemies. You are the sovereign of your own mind. You don't need their permission to evict hostile occupants. The second rule of engagement: starve the enemy. Enemy thoughts feed on one thing: your attention. The more you dwell on a fear, the more you replay a mistake, the more you entertain a doubt, the stronger it becomes. You are feeding it your most precious resource. When a negative thought appears, your job is to immediately cut off its supply lines. Shift your focus. Engage in a difficult task. Recite a mantra. Listen to intense music. Do whatever it takes to pivot your attention instantly and completely. An enemy that is not fed will wither. It's not about pretending the negativity doesn't exist. It's about refusing to give it a seat at your work council. It can scream from outside the walls, but it does not get a vote on your strategy. Your mind is a battlefield, and on this battlefield, your focus is your most powerful weapon. Where you aim your focus determines what grows and what dies. Aim it at your insecurities, and they will become giants. Aim it at the obstacles, and they will seem insurmountable. Aim it at your mission, at the next immediate step, at the single controllable action in front of you, and the giants of fear and doubt will shrink into insignificance. The world will constantly try to invade your mental territory. The news will try to inject fear. Social media will try to inject comparison and envy. The opinions of others will try to inject doubt. You must become a ruthless guardian of your own mind. Build fortifications. Be deliberate about what information you allow in. Unfollow the accounts that make you feel weak. Turn off the news that makes you feel powerless. Distance yourself from the people who speak the language of defeat. This is not selfish. This is strategic. You would not allow a spy to walk freely around your military base. Do not allow their thoughts to walk freely around your mind. You are at war. Every day, the battle is for the control of your perception, your focus, and your will. Stop being a passive gardener, hoping for the best. Become an active, vigilant warrior. Know your territory. Identify your enemy. And when the attack comes, meet it with overwhelming, disciplined force. You are now learning to control the internal world. You are learning to fight. But a warrior without a plan is just a man waiting for a lucky shot. A true commander does not just fight battles. He architects the entire campaign. He designs the structure of victory before the first shot is ever fired. And that begins with building the framework for your daily conquest. It is time to learn. Chapter 5. The Architecture of an Unbreakable Day. Chapter 5. The Architecture of an Unbreakable Day. The war for your mind is not won by passion alone. It is won by structure. It is won by logic. It is won by design. An army without a plan is just a mob. A warrior without a schedule is just a victim of his own whims. You have been living your life like an amateur. You wake up and ask, what do I feel like doing today? You consult your emotions. You check the weather of your moods. You are hoping for a gust of motivation to blow you in the right direction. This is a formula for failure. It is an open invitation for your weaker self to take the helm and steer you toward the rocks of comfort and distraction. Stop living by chance. Start living by design. Today, you become the architect of your day. Amateurs have hopes. Professionals have a schedule. Write that down. Your schedule is not a gentle suggestion. It is not a list of preferences. It is the architectural blueprint for your victory. It is a sacred document. It is the law, and you are its sole enforcer. An unbreakable day is built the night before. This is the first, non-negotiable rule. The warrior does not stumble into the day and react to it. The warrior plans his attack while the enemy sleeps. Before you go to bed, you will take 10 minutes. You will sit down with a piece of paper or a blank document, and you will build tomorrow. You will define your one critical mission. What is the single most important thing you must accomplish tomorrow that will move you closer to your ultimate goal? Not 5 things. 1. This is your mission-critical task. This task goes at the top of the page. It is the hill you must take. Everything else is secondary. Next, you will build blocks of time. You will stop thinking of your day as a wide-open field and start seeing it as a series of strategic blocks. The most valuable of these are your deep work blocks. These are 90 to 120-minute, uninterrupted, single-tasking sessions dedicated only to your mission-critical task. During a deep work block, your phone is in another room. Off. Not on silent. Off. All notifications on your computer are disabled. All browser tabs unrelated to the task are closed. You inform anyone around you that you are not to be disturbed. This time is consecrated. It is a fortress of focus. You are unreachable. You are a ghost. It is just you and the mission. This is the key. The modern world is in a conspiracy to destroy your attention. Your phone, your email, your social media. These are weapons of mass distraction, and they are fragmenting your focus into useless shards. An unbreakable day is built on the foundation of unbroken focus. By scheduling these blocks, you are reclaiming your cognitive territory. You have a choice. You can let the world dictate your agenda with 1,000 tiny, urgent, but unimportant requests, or you can seize control and dedicate your best energy to what truly matters. You don't need their permission to be unavailable. Your mission requires it. After your deep work block, you schedule a tactical rest. 15 to 20 minutes. You do not check your phone. You do not browse the internet. That is not rest. That is another form of cheap stimulation. Instead, you get up. You walk. You stretch. You hydrate. You look out a window. You let your mind decompress. This is strategic recovery, allowing you to return to the next block with renewed intensity. Your day is now taking shape. It is no longer a vague hope. It is a sequence of commands. 6:00 a.m. Wake. Hydrate. Move. 6:30 a.m. 8 a.m. Deep work block 1. Mission critical task. 8:00 a.m. 8:15 a.m. Tactical rest. 8:15 a.m. 9 a.m. Administrative block. Check and respond to critical emails only, and so on. You will schedule everything. Your workouts. Your meals. Your family time. Why? Because what is not scheduled is not real. It is a fantasy that you hope will happen. By putting it in the architecture, you give it weight. You make it a commitment. This eliminates decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a secret weapon of your weaker self. Every small choice you have to make throughout the day, what to wear, what to eat, what to work on next, drains your finite supply of willpower. By the afternoon, your willpower is depleted, and your weaker self easily takes command. A schedule is the ultimate defense. The decisions have already been made. Your only job is to execute the plan. It's not about what you feel like. It's about what the schedule says. The schedule is your commander. You are the soldier. Your job is to obey. Does this sound rigid? Does it sound difficult? Good. It is supposed to. Ease is the enemy. Structure is strength. This architecture is what separates the professional from the dreamer. The dreamer is always busy, but never productive. They are caught in a whirlwind of reactivity, putting out small fires, answering every notification, and ending the day exhausted with nothing important to show for it. The professional ends the day with quiet satisfaction. They may not have done 100 things, but they did the one thing that mattered. They took the hill. This is the new standard. When the day is done, you will look at your schedule. Did you adhere to it? Did you execute the plan? If you did, you won. It does not matter if the results came today. It does not matter if you got the applause. You honored the architecture. You obeyed the discipline. That is the victory. Your life is the sum of your days. To build an extraordinary life, you must first build an unbreakable day. Over and over and over again. This structure is your salvation. It is the framework upon which you will build your unbreakable mind. But this structure will require you to do things you do not want to do. It will force you into situations of strain and effort. Your weaker self will scream for the comfort of the old ways. To withstand this, you must fundamentally change your relationship with difficulty itself. You must stop running from it and start running toward it. You must learn to. Chapter 6. Hunt for discomfort, feast on growth. Chapter 6. Hunt for discomfort, feast on growth. You have built the architecture. You have a plan of attack for your day. But a blueprint is useless if the builder is afraid of lifting heavy things. Your schedule will inevitably lead you to a place you have spent your entire life avoiding. It will lead you to discomfort. For the undisciplined mind, discomfort is a signal to stop. It is a warning sign, an alarm bell that screams, retreat. Seek safety. Find the easy path. Your entire modern life has been engineered to eliminate friction. Comfort is delivered to your door. Entertainment is available at the press of a button. You have been conditioned to see discomfort as a problem to be solved, an inconvenience to be removed. This is the greatest trap ever set. Because in that discomfort you are so desperate to avoid lies every single thing you have ever wanted. Strength is forged there. Confidence is born there. Your potential is buried there. The path of ease is the path of decay. Hunt for discomfort. You must fundamentally rewire your brain's response to difficulty. You must stop seeing it as a threat and start seeing it as an opportunity. It is not punishment. It is training. Every moment of strain, every bead of sweat, every ounce of struggle is a nutrient. You must learn to feast on it. This is not a metaphor. This is a deliberate, tactical practice. You must stop waiting for discomfort to find you in your pursuit of a goal. You must start actively seeking it out in small, controlled, daily doses. You must build your discomfort muscle, just as you would build your bicep. It starts with the voluntary, the chosen hardship. The most powerful tool for this is the cold shower. Think about it. There is no physical danger. It is a zero-risk scenario. But the mind screams in protest. The weaker self will invent 100 reasons not to do it. It's too cold today. It's not good for you. You can start tomorrow. It is pure, unadulterated discomfort for its own sake. When you step into that icy water, you are not just cleaning your body. You are cleansing your will. For those 60 seconds, you are teaching your mind a profound lesson. You are teaching it that its frantic signals of panic and its desperate pleas for comfort are irrelevant. You are in command. You are proving, in a visceral, undeniable way, that you can and will do difficult things. You step out of that shower a different person. You have won a victory over your own primal wiring. And that victory creates a ripple effect throughout your entire day. That's the key. You hunt for these small, chosen discomforts. You choose the stairs instead of the elevator. You park at the far end of the parking lot. You hold the plank for 10 seconds longer than you think you can. You make the phone call you are dreading first thing in the morning. Each of these acts is a repetition. It is a rep for your discipline muscle. You are intentionally putting yourself in a state of friction and proving to yourself that you can handle it. You are raising your tolerance for pain. You are expanding your capacity for resilience. You have a choice. Every day presents you with 1,000 opportunities to choose the comfortable path or the path of growth. The comfortable path is smooth, downhill, and leads directly off a cliff. The path of growth is uphill, rocky, and requires all of your effort. But it leads to the summit. It's not about becoming a masochist. It's about becoming an alchemist. It's about learning to transform the lead of struggle into the gold of strength. When you are in the gym and your muscles burn, you do not think, "This hurts. I should stop." You think, "This is the feeling of weakness leaving my body. This is the feeling of new strength being created. I want more of it." When you are struggling with a difficult concept at work, you do not think, "I'm not smart enough for this." You think, "This feeling of confusion is my brain forging new neural pathways. This is the feeling of my intellect expanding. I will stay with this." You hunt for the feeling of being the dumbest person in the room, because that is where the most rapid learning occurs. You hunt for the feedback that stings, because that is where the most valuable insights are found. You run toward the very things that the amateur runs away from. You don't need their permission to challenge yourself. You need your own. This practice will change you on a cellular level. You will stop fearing challenges and start welcoming them. You will see obstacles not as barriers, but as opportunities to prove your strength and forge new capabilities. You will build a deep, unshakable confidence that can only come from voluntarily walking through the fire and knowing you can withstand the heat. The undisciplined mind seeks a life without problems. This is a fantasy. A life without problems is a life without growth. The disciplined mind does not seek to eliminate problems. It seeks to become the person who is strong enough to solve them. And that strength is built only in the crucible of discomfort. So, ask yourself, where is the friction in your life right now? What are you avoiding? What task? What conversation? What action makes your stomach tighten with dread? Your mission is to identify that thing and then run directly at it. That is your training ground for today. That is your feast. You are learning to build your own strength, brick by brick, through chosen hardship. But as you grow stronger, a new and more subtle enemy will emerge. It is the insidious need for others to recognize your strength. It is the silent poison of outside opinion. You must learn to guard against. Chapter 7. The Silent Betrayal of Seeking Approval. Chapter 7. The Silent Betrayal of Seeking. You are building yourself into a weapon. You are sharpening your will, forging your discipline, and learning to hunt for the discomfort that creates growth. A new power is rising within you. And with that new power comes a new and devastatingly subtle temptation. The temptation to be seen. You will want to show them. You will want them to notice your progress. You will crave the nod of approval, the word of encouragement, the applause from the crowd. You will want them to validate the hard work you have been doing in silence. Be warned. This desire is the most sophisticated trap your weaker self will ever set for you. It is a silent betrayal of everything you are building. It is the act of forging a sword of pure steel and then handing it to a stranger to ask if it is sharp. Their applause is a cage. Your self-respect is freedom. Seek none of it. The moment you begin to seek external validation, you surrender your power. You are outsourcing your sense of worth. You are plugging your emotional state into a grid you do not control. If they praise you, you feel high. If they criticize you, you feel low. If they are indifferent, you feel invisible. You have become a puppet, and their opinions are the strings. The unbreakable mind cannot be built on such fragile ground. It must be sovereign. It must generate its own validation. It must be its own judge, its own jury, and its own executioner. Consider the entrepreneur. The amateur, full of a brilliant but fragile idea, presents his plan to his friends and family. They love him. They want him to be safe. So they project their own fears onto his vision. That's too risky. What's your plan B? 9 out of 10 businesses fail, you know. The amateur listens. He allows their fear to dilute his conviction. He alters his plan to make it more acceptable, safer, smaller. He seeks their approval and, in doing so, guarantees his own mediocrity. His business eventually fails, not because the idea was bad, but because his will was not his own. The professional, the warrior, does not ask for permission. He may listen to tactical advice from experts, But he does not seek emotional approval from the unqualified. He presents his plan with conviction. He listens to the concerns of his loved ones, says, "I understand your fear, and I appreciate your concern." And then he goes back to executing his mission according to his own disciplined code. His validation does not come from their enthusiastic support. It comes from the quiet satisfaction of doing the work. It comes from his own internal scorecard. That's the key. The professional is playing a different game, judged by a different set of rules. You must stop keeping an external scorecard and start keeping an internal one. The external scorecard is measured in likes, comments, promotions, and the praise of others. It is fickle and meaningless. The internal scorecard has only one metric. Did I do what I said I would do today? Yes or no? That is the only grade that matters. You have a choice. You can live your life as a performance, constantly looking out at the audience, adjusting your actions to win their applause. Or you can live your life as a mission, with your eyes fixed on the objective, indifferent to the spectators. A performer is a slave to the crowd. An operator is a master of himself. It's not about their opinion. It's about your mission. So how do you break this addiction to approval? You must be ruthless. First, you go on an opinion diet. Stop asking for them. When you have a new idea or a new goal, keep it to yourself. Protect it. Work on it in secret. Let it grow strong in the dark before you ever expose it to the light of other people's judgment. Don't ask, "What do you think of this?" Instead, get to a point where you can state, "Here is what I have done." Second, you practice self-validation. When you complete a brutal workout, do not immediately post about it. When you finish a difficult task at work, do not immediately seek praise from your boss. For a few minutes, just sit with the feeling of a job well done. Let that be the reward. Let that feeling of self-respect be enough. You are teaching your brain that the reward comes from the doing, not from the telling. Third, you must curate your inputs. The voices you allow into your mind will shape your thoughts. If you surround yourself with cynics, doubters, and critics, you will absorb their poison. You must be merciless in who you allow to have a voice in your head. Seek out the small council of operators, the people who speak the language of action and responsibility, and disregard the rest. You don't need their permission to build your own echo chamber of strength. This is a profound shift. It is the move from being a child who needs a gold star from the teacher to being the master who grades his own work against his own impossible standards. It is lonely at first. The silence where the applause used to be can feel unnerving. But then, it is replaced by something far more powerful. A deep, quiet, unshakable confidence that is not dependent on anything or anyone outside of you. You are building a spine of steel. You are learning that your own approval is the only approval that has ever mattered. But this internal focus is under constant assault. To maintain it, you cannot simply defend. You must also attack. You must eliminate the countless distractions that are engineered to pull you back into the world of external noise and cheap validation. Your focus must become a weapon. And to do that, you must learn and master. Chapter 8. Weaponize your focus. The Elimination Protocol. Chapter 8. Weaponize your focus. The Elimination Protocol. You have turned your gaze inward. You are learning to generate your own validation and ignore the noise of the crowd. But the enemy does not rest. The modern world has launched an all-out assault on the most valuable territory you will ever own, your attention. Your focus is your power. It is the lens through which you channel your energy. A scattered focus is like a light bulb. It illuminates a small area, but has no real force. A concentrated focus is a laser beam. It can cut through steel. You believe you have a focus problem. You do not. You have an elimination problem. Your attention is not weak. It is besieged. It is being plundered, fragmented, and stolen 1,000 times a day by forces specifically designed to do so. Your phone, your notifications, your endless feeds. These are not neutral tools. They are weapons of mass distraction, and they are winning the war for your mind. Today, You stop defending. You start attacking. You will learn to weaponize your focus by adopting a protocol of ruthless elimination. Focus is not created by addition. It is not about finding the right productivity app, the right playlist, or the right supplement. Focus is created by subtraction. It is the art of identifying and systematically destroying every single thing that does not serve your mission. The elimination protocol is your new doctrine of war. It has 3 core targets: digital distractions, mental clutter, and tolerated obligations. First, digital distractions. This is enemy number 1. Your smartphone is the greatest saboteur of potential ever invented. It is a slot machine in your pocket, engineered by geniuses to keep you addicted to a drip feed of novelty and validation. You must treat it as a hostile agent. The protocol is simple and non-negotiable. Step 1. You will go through every single application on your phone and delete anything that is not essential for your work or your mission. Social media apps, news apps, games gone. They are cancers on your attention. If you must use them, access them through a web browser on a computer. Add friction. Make it deliberate, not a mindless tick. Step 2. You will turn off every single notification on your phone and computer. All of them. Banners, badges, sounds off. Your attention is now a fortress, and nothing gets in unless you grant it entry. You will no longer be a reactive slave to the whims of every email, text, and like. You are the commander. You decide when you engage with the outside world. Step 3. Your phone lives in another room when you are engaged in a deep work block. It is not on your desk, face down. It is not in your pocket on silent. The mere presence of the device has been scientifically proven to diminish your cognitive capacity. Remove the enemy from the battlefield entirely. That's the key. You must create an environment where focus is the default setting. It's not about willpower. It's about architecture. You are making it easier to do the hard work and harder to do the easy, distracting work. The second target is mental clutter. Your mind is cluttered with open loops, unfinished tasks, unanswered emails, forgotten promises. Each one of these is a small program running in the background of your brain, consuming precious RAM. You must close these loops. The protocol: once a week, you will perform a mind sweep. You will take a piece of paper and write down every single thing that is on your mind. Every task, every idea, every worry. Get it all out of your head and onto the page. Then, you will process each item. You will either do it immediately if it takes less than 2 minutes, schedule it on your calendar if it's a larger task, delegate it, or delete it if it is unimportant. You are clearing the cache of your mind, leaving it clean, fast, and ready to focus on the mission at hand. The third and final target is the most difficult: tolerated obligations. These are the meetings you know are a waste of time. The social events you attend out of a sense of duty. The opportunities that are nothing more than a distraction from your true path. You have a choice. You can continue to allow your time, your life, to be consumed by other people's agendas, or you can start saying no. The protocol: before you agree to any new commitment, you will ask one question: does this directly and significantly serve my primary mission? If the answer is not a definitive yes, then the answer is a firm no. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to provide a long excuse. Thank you for the offer, but I'm unable to commit to that at this time. It will feel uncomfortable at first, but the freedom you gain in return is immeasurable. You don't need their permission to protect your time. You must become a ruthless guardian of your focus. Because in a world drowning in information, the person who can control their own attention is king. This is the new currency. This is the ultimate competitive advantage. Eliminate ruthlessly. Eliminate the apps. Eliminate the notifications. Eliminate the mental clutter. Eliminate the obligations. What is left is a clean, quiet, powerful space. A space where you can do the deep work that matters. A space where you can finally hear your own thoughts. This is not a one-time cleaning. This is a continuous, disciplined practice. A daily war against the forces of distraction. But this weaponized focus creates a new kind of momentum. With your attention now aimed like a laser, you will begin to accomplish tasks faster and with higher quality. You will start to stack small wins, one after another. And in that momentum, you will discover the secret to building discipline that lasts a lifetime. You will discover the power of Chapter 9. The Feedback Loop of Small Wins. Chapter 9. The Feedback Loop of Small Wins. You are clearing the battlefield. You have eliminated the distractions and weaponized your focus. Now, you must learn how to build momentum. You must understand that an unbreakable will is not forged in a single, cataclysmic event. It is built day by day, choice by choice, brick by brick. The great lie you have been sold is that transformation requires a giant leap, a massive, heroic act of willpower that will change everything in an instant. This is a fantasy. It is the amateur's dream of a lottery ticket. The professional knows the truth. Lasting discipline is the result of a positive feedback loop, powered by the consistent accumulation of small, deliberate wins. Discipline is built one brick at a time. Win the first battle, then the next. Stack your wins. Your brain is a reward-seeking machine. It is wired to repeat behaviors that generate a feeling of success and to avoid behaviors that lead to failure. For years, you may have been trapped in a negative feedback loop. You set a huge, unrealistic goal. You fail to meet it. You feel like a failure, and that feeling reinforces the identity of someone who can't stick with things. Your weaker self thrives in this environment. Today, you will hijack that system. You will start engineering wins. You will become a master architect of your own success, starting with the smallest possible victories. This is not about lowering your standards. It is about raising your consistency. It is a strategic shift from chasing massive, infrequent victories to guaranteeing small, daily ones. The first win of the day is the most important. As we discussed in the war on your weaker self, it is the battle against the snooze button. But the next win comes immediately after. It is the act of making your bed. This may sound trivial. It is not. It is a masterclass in psychological programming. To the undisciplined mind, it is a pointless chore. To the warrior, it is a critical ritual. By making your bed, you are accomplishing the first planned task of the day. You are imposing order on your immediate environment. You are taking a small pocket of chaos and making it clean and structured. It is a physical manifestation of your mental state. You are sending a signal to your brain. I am a person who does what they say they will do. I finish what I start. It is a small, undeniable win. And that one gives you a microdose of pride, a flicker of momentum. It is proof. It is evidence. That is the key. You are not using hope or affirmations. You are using the cold, hard evidence of a completed task to build your new identity. From there, you stack the next win. You have your glass of water. Win. You do your 5 minutes of stretching. Win. You complete the first 90-minute deep work block on your schedule. Major win. Before the rest of the world has even finished its first cup of coffee, you have already stacked 4 victories. You have built a wave of momentum. Your weaker self, the voice of procrastination and doubt, hates this. It thrives on inertia. It has no power against an object already in motion. You have a choice. You can start your day in a state of chaotic reaction, immediately checking your phone, letting the world's agenda flood your mind, and losing before you've even begun. Or you can start your day with a deliberate sequence of controlled victories that prime your mind for success. The feedback loop works like this. You complete a small, planned task. The win. Your brain releases a small amount of dopamine, a neurochemical associated with reward and motivation. The reward. This reward reinforces the behavior, making you slightly more likely to complete the next task. The reinforcement. Each win provides a piece of evidence that strengthens your identity as a disciplined, effective person. The identity shift. Over time, this is not a loop. It is a spiral, ascending upward. The more you win, the more you expect to win. The more evidence you gather, the more your identity shifts from "I'm trying to be disciplined" to "I am disciplined." It's not about the size of the win. It's about the consistency of the winning. A flawless week of sticking to your diet, even if you only lost half a pound, is infinitely more powerful for your discipline than a single heroic day of fasting followed by 6 days of failure. The professional doesn't chase the heroic. The professional chases the consistent. So, review your goals, and then break them down into the smallest possible units of victory. Your goal isn't to write a book. Your goal for today is to write 500 words. Your goal isn't to get in shape. Your goal for today is to put on your running shoes and get out the door. Make the win so small, so achievable, that it is almost impossible to fail. Then, claim that victory. Acknowledge it. Feel the satisfaction. Use it as fuel for the next small win. This is the antidote to overwhelm. This is the cure for procrastination. You are no longer looking at the terrifyingly distant mountain peak. You are looking only at the very next step in front of you. Take that step. Win that inch of ground. Then the next. And then the next. One day, you will look back from the summit and realize you got there not by a miraculous leap, but by stacking 10,000 small, unremarkable, and non-negotiable wins. You are building the machine of discipline. You are fueling it with evidence. You are creating a new identity forged in the fire of daily execution. And as you live this way, day after day, you will come to understand the great and final truth of this entire philosophy. You will understand the ultimate paradox that unlocks true power. You will finally see that. Chapter 10. Discipline is freedom, living the code. Chapter 10. Discipline is freedom, living the code. We have arrived at the end of this journey, but it is, in truth, the beginning of yours. We have dissected the enemy. We have declared war. We have dismantled the myth of motivation and armed you with the reality of action. You have learned to command the battlefield of your mind, to architect your days, to hunt for discomfort, to reject the poison of approval, to weaponize your focus, and to build unstoppable momentum through the power of small wins. Now, we must confront the great paradox, the final, crowning truth upon which your unbreakable mind will be built. You have been taught that discipline is a prison, a cage of rigid rules and joyless obligations, a life of restriction, a denial of spontaneity and freedom. This is the final and most insidious lie of your weaker self. It is the propaganda of a slave who has convinced himself his chains are comfortable. The truth is the exact opposite. Discipline is not the cage. Discipline is the key that unlocks the cage. Discipline is freedom. Think about it. The undisciplined man is a slave. He is a slave to his moods. If he feels tired, he cannot work. If he feels bored, he cannot focus. If he feels tempted, he cannot resist. He is a slave to his appetites, a prisoner of his own impulses. He believes he is free because he does whatever he feels like, but he cannot see that his feelings are the bars of his prison. He is a ship without a rudder, free to be tossed in any direction by the violent, unpredictable waves of his own emotions. That is not freedom. That is chaos. That is bondage. The undisciplined man is a slave to his finances. He buys on impulse, spends without a plan, and saves nothing. He is free to buy the fleeting pleasure today, but he is a prisoner to debt, to stress, and to a job he hates for the rest of his life. The undisciplined man is a slave to his health. He is free to eat the poison, to skip the workout, to neglect his body. But this freedom leads to the ultimate prison, a weak, frail body that limits his energy, his experiences, and eventually, his very life. Now, consider the disciplined man, the warrior who lives by a code. He is free from the tyranny of his moods. His feelings are irrelevant to his actions. He has forged a will that is stronger than his comfort. He can execute his plan whether he is motivated or exhausted, inspired or bored. He possesses the ultimate power, the freedom to act in his own long-term best interest, regardless of short-term feelings. He is the captain of his own ship, holding the rudder firm, able to steer toward any destination he chooses, through any storm. The disciplined man is free financially. Through the rigid discipline of budgeting, saving, and investing, he has bought his freedom from a job he does not love. He has the freedom to choose his work, to take risks, to walk away from situations that do not serve him. His discipline has purchased his sovereignty. The disciplined man is free in his health. Through the daily discipline of proper nutrition and hard training, he has built a body that is a source of energy and capability, not a prison of weakness and pain. He has the freedom to climb mountains, to play with his children, to live a life of vitality and strength. That is the key. In every area of life, the sacrifice of short-term impulse buys you the freedom of long-term options. The structure you build creates the space for you to truly live. The rules you impose upon yourself are what ultimately set you free. You have a choice. You can choose the easy freedom of chaos, which is a prison in disguise. Or you can choose the difficult freedom of discipline, which is the only true liberation there is. This is the code. It is the operating system for an unbreakable mind and an extraordinary life. 1. The enemy is internal. You are responsible for everything. 2. Declare war on your weaker self. It is a battle, not a negotiation. 3. Action is reality. Motivation is a myth. Do the work. 4. Your mind is a battlefield. Do not tend to weakness, destroy it. 5. Architect your day. Professionals have a schedule. 6. Hunt for discomfort. The path of ease is the path of decay. 7. Reject approval. Your internal scorecard is all that matters. 8. Eliminate ruthlessly. Your focus is your power. 9. Stack your wins. Build momentum one brick at a time. 10. Discipline is freedom. This is the ultimate truth. This is not a set of tips or hacks. This is a code to be lived. It is an identity to be earned every single day. The person you are now is a product of your old code. The person you will become will be a product of this one. The undisciplined man is a slave to his passions. The disciplined man is his own master. This is the code. Discipline is freedom. You have the blueprint. You have the weapons. You have the truth. Nothing else is required. From this moment forward, there are no more excuses. There is only the code and your choice in every single moment to live by it or to betray it. Your training is complete. Your war has just begun. The closing, the challenge, final 60 seconds. You have reached the end of this transmission. But this is not an end. It is the beginning. For the last 2 hours, you have been given the code. You have learned that the enemy is not the world. It is the weakness inside you. You have learned to declare war on that weakness, to starve it, to hunt it, and to defeat it in the small skirmishes of your day. You now know the truth. That motivation is a myth and action is the only reality. That your mind is not a garden to be tended, but a battlefield to be conquered. You have been given the architecture to build an unbreakable day, the strategy to hunt for discomfort, and the command to reject the silent poison of approval. You have been armed with the protocol of elimination and the momentum of small, stacked wins. And you have learned the final, great truth, that the iron cage of discipline is the only key to true freedom. But let me be clear, this knowledge is worthless. It is nothing more than a collection of sounds and ideas. Knowledge without action is the ultimate betrayal of your potential. Do not mistake listening for doing. Do not mistake understanding for acting. The words are now just echoes. All that matters is what you do next. The person you were when you started this audiobook is now your enemy. That person tolerated excuses. That person waited for permission. That person negotiated with mediocrity. Your war has been declared not just on your weaker self, but on the ghost of who you used to be. The audiobook is over. Your work has just begun. I have one final question for you. One final command. What is the one action you will take, right now, in the next 5 minutes, to prove that you have not just listened, but that you have heard? What is the one distraction you will eliminate? The one difficult task you will start? The one commitment you will make? The time for learning is over. The time for execution is now. Stop thinking. Stop planning. Go. Act. Bonus chapter: The Plateau of Despair. Forging discipline when results disappear. So, you have been living the code. You have been declaring war every morning. You have been executing your schedule. You have been hunting for discomfort and stacking your wins. For weeks, maybe even months, you have been rewarded for your efforts. The numbers on the scale have dropped. The balance in your bank account has climbed. The progress has been visible, tangible. It has been the fuel. And then, one day, it stops. The scale doesn't move. The sales calls don't land. The project stalls. You are still putting in the same brutal effort, still adhering to the same rigid discipline, but the results have vanished. Welcome to the plateau of despair. Do not be mistaken. This is not a sign of failure. This is not a signal that the code is flawed. This is the final, most difficult test you will ever face. This is the great filter. It is the invisible wall where 99% of people turn back. It is the point where amateurs who were fueled by the drug of progress give up, convinced that it's not working anymore. This is where the true warrior is forged. Your weaker self is a cunning enemy. It has seen that its old tactics, the whispers of comfort, the cries of fatigue, are no longer effective against your hardened will. So it changes its strategy. It launches its most insidious attack. It stops attacking your effort and starts attacking your faith in the process. It whispers, see? All this pain, all this sacrifice, for nothing. You're stuck. You've given everything, and this is all you get. It's not worth it. Let's go back to what was comfortable. At least we weren't wasting our time. This is the most dangerous lie you will ever hear. Because it sounds like logic. It sounds reasonable. And if you listen, you are finished. Your new mandate, your new command in this phase of the war, is this: trust the process, not the progress. Burn that into your mind. The victory is no longer the number on the scale. The victory is no longer the number in your bank account. The victory is your unwavering adherence to the code. The win is getting up at 5 a.m. when you have seen no results for 3 straight weeks. The win is eating the clean meal when the scale hasn't moved an ounce. The win is making the 10th sales call after the first 9 have gone to voicemail. That is the key. You must fall in love with the process itself. You must find a savage satisfaction in the discipline, independent of the outcome. The work itself must become the reward. How do you do this? First, you shift your measurement. You stop measuring the outputs, which you cannot control, and you start ruthlessly measuring your inputs, which you can. Your goal is no longer to lose 2 pounds this week. Your goal is to execute all 5 planned workouts and adhere to the nutrition plan with 100% compliance. Do you see the power in that shift? You can have a perfect week, a week of flawless discipline and victory, even if the external results are 0. You are taking back control. You are judging yourself by your effort, not by the world's response to it. Second, you must recognize the invisible gains. During the plateau, you may not be building more muscle, but you are forging something far more important: character. You are building pure, unadulterated discipline. Discipline that is not dependent on rewards is the only kind that lasts. It is the bedrock. This is the time when your roots are growing deeper, anchoring you so that you can later support greater growth. You cannot see it, but it is the most critical work you will ever do. Third, you shorten your time horizon. Stop looking at the distant mountain peak of your ultimate goal. That is too far away, and your faith may waver. Your only mission is to win today. Just today. Execute the schedule. Adhere to the code. Put your head down and win the square foot of ground you are standing on. Then, when you wake up tomorrow, your mission is the same. Win the day. That is all. The plateau is designed by nature to shake off those who are merely interested and to reveal those who are truly committed. It is a test of faith in the law of cause and effect. It is a test of your will to continue chopping at the tree, even when it shows no sign of falling. But let me tell you a secret. If you continue to chop, if you continue to trust the process, to measure your inputs, and to win the day, the tree will fall. The breakthrough will come. It will happen suddenly, and with a force that will shock you. The results that were building invisibly beneath the surface will all appear at once. And on the other side of that plateau is a level of strength and self-respect you cannot yet imagine. Because you will know that you are not someone who just shows up when things are easy. You are someone who holds the line when all seems lost. And that knowledge, that is the real prize. That is the unbreakable mind. Do not fear the plateau. Do not despair. Recognize it for what it is, the final exam. The rite of passage. Trust the process. Win today. Hold the line. Epilogue Chapter. Victory is a test. The danger of winning the battle. You did it. You followed the code. You endured the plateau. You held the line when there was no reason to hold it, and the breakthrough came. You got the promotion. You hit the goal weight. You launched the business. You won. The battle is over, and you are standing on the hill you sought to conquer. You can hear the applause. You can feel the validation. And now you are in more danger than you have ever been in your entire life. You have been trained for hardship. You have been trained for the fight. But you have not yet been trained for the most treacherous and seductive enemy of all, victory. Victory is not a destination. Victory is a test. And most men fail it. They fight with the ferocity of a lion to escape the cage of mediocrity, only to willingly walk into the comfortable prison of success. The war is never over. The moment you believe it is, you have already lost the peace. The danger of victory is threefold. First, there is the lure of comfort. The reward for your discipline is often the very thing you fought to escape, ease. The hard bed in the barracks is replaced by the soft mattress in the palace. The strict rations are replaced by the feast. Your enemy, the weaker self that you starved and beat into submission, is now being offered a banquet, and it is starving. Comfort is the new enemy, and it approaches not with a roar, but with a warm, welcoming smile. Second, there is the poison of praise. You were trained to reject external approval when you were in the trenches, but it is 1,000 times harder to reject it when you are on the parade ground. The same people who doubted you now praise you. Their applause feels like justice. It feels like validation. It feeds your ego. And the moment your ego is fed, your hunger dies. You begin to believe your own legend. You stop being the warrior and start becoming a monument. Third, there is the myth of arrival. This is the belief that you have made it, that the work is done, that you have crossed a finish line and can now rest. This is the most lethal danger of all. There is no finish line. The process was the goal. The act of becoming the person capable of winning was the entire point. The trophy is just a byproduct. The moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you stop growing. And that which is not growing is dying. So how does the warrior handle victory? He does not reject it. He does not deny it. He metabolizes it according to a strict protocol. This is the protocol of the victor, the 24-hour rule, and the reset to zero. When you achieve a significant victory, you have 24 hours. For one day, you are permitted to celebrate. You will acknowledge the accomplishment. You will feel the pride. You will accept the congratulations. You will consciously and deliberately enjoy the fruits of your labor. One day, 24 hours. But when the sun rises on the second day, the celebration is over. The victory is now a part of history. It is a brick in your foundation, nothing more. And you reset to zero. Resetting to zero is a mental and spiritual discipline. You wake up on that second day, and you are no longer the champion. You are the contender again. You are hungry again. You are the underdog. You look at your new mission, your next objective, and you feel as though you have accomplished nothing. You are a beginner. You have everything to prove all over again. That's the key. You do not let success accumulate in your mind. You accumulate the lessons of success, the strength of success, but you discard the status of success. The one-hit wonder athlete wins the championship and spends the next year giving interviews and attending parties. He gets soft. he loses his edge. He never wins again. The dynasty builder wins the championship, and the next morning, he is the first one back in the gym, studying game film, obsessed with the flaws in his victory. He resets to 0. That is why he keeps winning. You have a choice. You can let your victory be the final chapter of your story, a comfortable ending you will coast on for the rest of your life. Or you can let it be the end of chapter 1. The new enemy is complacency. The new battlefield is your own satisfaction. Your discipline must now be turned against the comfort that your previous discipline has earned you. You must hunt for new discomforts. You must manufacture new challenges. You must find a new war to wage, because a warrior without a war is just a man waiting to decay. The code is not a tool to achieve a single outcome. It is a way of life. It is a perpetual engine of growth and conquest, especially when there is nothing left to conquer but your own success. The work is never done. The war is never over. Victory was a test. Now, find your next one. Epilogue chapter. Victory is a test. The danger of winning the battle. You did it. You followed the code. You endured the plateau. You held the line when there was no reason to hold it, and the breakthrough came. You got the promotion. You hit the goal weight. You launched the business. You won. The battle is over, and you are standing on the hill you sought to conquer. You can hear the applause. You can feel the validation. And now you are in more danger than you have ever been in your entire life. You have been trained for hardship. You have been trained for the fight. But you have not yet been trained for the most treacherous and seductive enemy of all, victory. Victory is not a destination. Victory is a test. And most men fail it. They fight with the ferocity of a lion to escape the cage of mediocrity, only to willingly walk into the comfortable prison of success. The war is never over. The moment you believe it is, you have already lost the peace. The danger of victory is threefold. First, there is the lure of comfort. The reward for your discipline is often the very thing you fought to escape: ease. The hard bed in the barracks is replaced by the soft mattress in the palace. The strict rations are replaced by the feast. Your enemy, the weaker self that you starved and beat into submission, is now being offered a banquet, and it is starving. Comfort is the new enemy, and it approaches not with a roar, but with a warm, welcoming smile. Second, there is the poison of praise. You were trained to reject external approval when you were in the trenches, but it is 1,000 times harder to reject it when you are on the parade ground. The same people who doubted you now praise you. Their applause feels like justice. It feels like validation. It feeds your ego. And the moment your ego is fed, your hunger dies. You begin to believe your own legend. You stop being the warrior and start becoming a monument. Third, there is the myth of arrival. This is the belief that you have made it, that the work is done, that you have crossed a finish line and can now rest. This is the most lethal danger of all. There is no finish line. The process was the goal. The act of becoming the person capable of winning was the entire point. The trophy is just a byproduct. The moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you stop growing. And that which is not growing is dying. So how does the warrior handle victory? He does not reject it. He does not deny it. He metabolizes it according to a strict protocol. This is the protocol of the victor, the 24-hour rule, and the reset to 0. When you achieve a significant victory, you have 24 hours. For one day, you are permitted to celebrate. You will acknowledge the accomplishment. You will feel the pride. You will accept the congratulations. You will consciously and deliberately enjoy the fruits of your labor. One day, 24 hours. But when the sun rises on the second day, the celebration is over. The victory is now a part of history. It is a brick in your foundation, nothing more. And you reset to 0. Resetting to 0 is a mental and spiritual discipline. You wake up on that second day, and you are no longer the champion. You are the contender again. You are hungry again. You are the underdog. You look at your new mission, your next objective, and you feel as though you have accomplished nothing. You are a beginner. You have everything to prove, all over again. That's the key. You do not let success accumulate in your mind. You accumulate the lessons of success, the strength of success, but you discard the status of success. The one-hit wonder athlete wins the championship and spends the next year giving interviews and attending parties. He gets soft. He loses his edge. He never wins again. The dynasty builder wins the championship, and the next morning, he is the first one back in the gym, studying game film, obsessed with the flaws in his victory. He resets to zero. That is why he keeps winning. You have a choice. You can let your victory be the final chapter of your story, a comfortable ending you will coast on for the rest of your life. Or you can let it be the end of chapter 1. The new enemy is complacency. The new battlefield is your own satisfaction. Your discipline must now be turned against the comfort that your previous discipline has earned you. You must hunt for new discomforts. You must manufacture new challenges. You must find a new war to wage, because a warrior without a war is just a man waiting to decay. The code is not a tool to achieve a single outcome. It is a way of life. It is a perpetual engine of growth and conquest, especially when there is nothing left to conquer but your own success. The work is never done. The war is never over. Victory was a test. Now, find your next one.